Moses came here. We have to go over a building. This is a holy or a sacred place. So this is around here. Moses did it. And the water goes down to Petra. Tomorrow we'll see the water channels in Petra and the ones that were carved by the Nabateans. Now, if you go down here like this, and you take your hat, and you put your waters, of course you have 3 times fresh waters, and you put it over your head, you'll be blessed by Moses. You'll be 20 years younger.
Are you just telling us that? 20 years and blessed by Moses?
20. You'll be blessed by Moses. And you will never get gray hair.
You should have been like 6, 7 years old now.
If it's late, tomorrow morning you'll wake up very blonde. In the morning I will have blue eyes. I suggest, I recommend that.
This is my room. In the hotel in Petra. It's very beautiful, this hotel. This is the view from the hotel. Israel in the other side. That's Israel, but it's not, you cannot see it now. The mosque looking on the top of that mountain is where brother of Moses was buried, Harun. مسجدی که اون بالا نگاه میکنین که خیلی دور از اینجا، این از اتاق هتل هم دارم میبینم، جایی هستش که هارون برادر موسی را دفن کردن. برادر حضرت موسی. یه بار دیگه میام جلو. این مسجد، هارون برادر حضرت موسی اینجا دفن شده.
The first toilet when I go to buy the tickets. The second toilet stop will be after 2 hours. After 2 hours, there will be a toilet break and.
Right now we have.
Let's not go there. You walk off to the left-hand side. We will meet here at 3 o'clock. This is the cave bar. They will open. You can sit indoors. You can have a look at the cave. You can have a drink. Must ask about the prices of drinks before you drink. Because they have 26% tax. 10% service. Start here, okay? On the way back, the way out, this is the end of the horse right here. Walk up to the gate and then go to the left, to the cave bar. I will explain about the price. We'll wait for him. Yeah, we'll walk slowly for our friends. Don't worry. Yeah, we'll stop. About Petra. We had several theories about the site. At the beginning of the 20th century, the archaeologists, they thought that Petra, it was only a cemetery, a graveyard for the ancient Nabatean kingdom. But with more excavation, with more finding pottery, foundation of old houses, they came to know that Petra, it was really a cemetery, it was a pilgrimage site, and it was the capital of ancient Nabatean kingdom. The first part of Petra will be the city of the dead. Now that facade over there, okay, we don't have a local name for it, but it's a carving, and you see a beautiful facade with steps over the top. It has a small doorway. It goes into a small cave. Inside the cave, there are graves. The Nabatean graves are maximum 6 feet long, the big ones. Most of them are small in size. And the graves are either one layer or two or three. You can have one body and then stones over it, the second, and then you have the third. The archaeologists did not find a four-layer grave in all Petra. In the small cave, you can have 5-6 bodies. You can have maybe 20 bodies. It depends how big is the family. Usually the tombs, the graves are private tombs from father to children to his grandchildren. And then you cannot have more generations within the same cave. So you need always to move out. All the caves are tombs over here. You can see the opening. And when you go closer, look at the top of the cave. It's always black because of cooking and making fire. That cave, that beautiful square shaped building, we have two names for it. The first one is the Tomb of the Ghost. It's carved from the top to the bottom. It's a soft sandstone. We call it the Tomb of the Ghost, or even we call it the water tank tomb. Some of it has, the first one has a doorway. It leads into a small cave. So it was a tomb. The second one, when you go closer in the back, and the third one do not have doorways or an opening. It means it's a memorial tomb or an image of one of the Nabatean gods, which is Rushara.
What's the name again? Name of the god?
The Rushara.
Okay.
The name of the mountains is Ashara. Rushara, it means he of the mountains. Okay? We were talking about the Tomb of the Ghost, that one, or it looks like a water tank tomb. The beautiful one and the preserved one is this one here with the beautiful columns. You can see them. Now, we had a question whether the tombs are for common people or for the royals of Petra. The big ones, the decorated ones, the well-carved ones, the designed ones are always for VIPs. They were ministers, they were traders, they were kings of Petra, okay, and their children. The common people, their graves are like that one. You can see it's an opening, and then you get a cave inside. The graves are down the floor, on the ground. Now, the one to the right-hand side, you can see the steps that goes on top of it. This is an Assyrian influence from ancient Iraq, from ancient Mesopotamia. The Assyrians built on top of their houses a small step pyramid. So the Nabatean, they copied the same design. Looking over there, that tomb, we have two different carvings. The one up at the top, the bottom one. The other one, we call it the obelisk tomb. Now, the Nabateans, the location of Petra is very interesting. You get to the south is ancient Egypt, to the east is ancient Mesopotamia, to the north is Syria. We have Assyrian influence, Arab and Greco-Roman in Petra. The obelisk tomb, when you see the obelisk, it means it's an Egyptian influence. The obelisk, it has a meaning of the word nefesh. Nefesh, it means the spirit, the soul of the dead Nabateans. For each dead Nabatean, there used to be an obelisk as an image for him. It represents the dead Nabatean. So you get 4 obelisks. Between when the archaeologists, they went into the cave and they uncovered the cave, they found 5 graves. 5 graves. So we should have 5 obelisks, but here we have only 4 obelisks. Between the second and the third obelisk in the back, we have a carved, like a sculpture or a statue. The carved thing, you know, the sculpture, it's an image for the dead Nabatean. It could be the father of the family. So you get 4 obelisks, and between the second and the third in the back, there is a beautiful statue, carved one. Okay, it's an image, most likely for the father of the dead family. Here, this cave, you can see this cave here, the one which is in front of us. If you look up at the top of it, over the entrance, there is an inscription of 5 lines. The first 3, it's a Nabatean script. It talks about one of the Nabateans. His name is Abed Menek. Abed Menek. Okay, he paid for the carving of that cave for him, for his children, and for his grandchildren. So all graves of Petra, because of that inscription, the first 3 layers is Nabatean, the bottom is Greek. Okay, they were private tombs for one family because of that inscription. So you cannot bury your friend within the same place. It's always a private burial, you know, tombs, a grave area for all families. The same thing was in the obelisk tomb. The same thing was in the bottom one. The same thing was for all the caves of Petra. So some families are big in size. You get 20 tombs. We'll see one of them once we go down to
Can I
Petra.
ask you, the Nabatean, they were using like a Hebrew language or something similar to Hebrew?
Okay, the Nabateans, they spoke the old Arabic language, which nowadays they call it the Nabatean. The standard and the classical Arabic language, it came from the Nabatean script. And you know, Nabatean, the old Arabic language, and Hebrew are very much alike. They're both are Semitic languages, so they're very close to each other. When I say the obelisk, it's an image of the dead Nabatean, Nafis. Nafis in Arabic, the word, okay, in Hebrew is Nefesh. Nafis, Nefesh. It means the spirit, the soul. Okay, so they're very much alike. So they are Arabs. At the gate of Petra is 1,000 meters above sea level, which is over 3,000 feet. If you go to the east of Petra, the elevation is almost 4,500 feet above sea level. Whenever, during the rainy season, whenever trains get all the flash floods comes down in this wadi, this is also part of Wadi Musa, the valley of Moses. Now the flash floods, the water goes through the gorge, over there we have the gorge, and then it's about, a little bit 1,207 meters long. To the end of the gorge we have the temple area. The gorge is a natural gorge. It was formed because of the flash floods. It's about 30 to 40 million years old. The stone here is a soft sandstone. The gorge, we call it the Siq, S-I-Q. Okay? It was the main passageway for visitors, for troops, for trade, and for everything. The Nabateans around the middle of the 1st century, they had a problem because of the flash floods in winter time. So they had to build a wall or a dam, that stones over there. When the floods came in the wadi, hit that wall and then goes to it goes to the right hand side. You can see that tunnel, they carved the tunnel, and then the flash floods went behind this mountain, the Khubtha mountain, and they stored it behind dams. And of course, they use that water for irrigation. The end of the wadi is a fountain. The end of the wadi is a fountain. So this is the main passageway here. And we keep walking down. And the way out, this is where you get your horses from. When you see that tent, and when you're over the bridge here, okay, and the tunnel area, this is the horses station here. You get horses from here, back to the gate. Horses in the gorge are not allowed, only carriages. You can't just go to the end of the gorge. So if anybody would like to book a carriage, on the way out, you can get it from the temple, to the gorge, to here, back to the gate. Siq of Petra, the gorge of Petra. The sun here, the Siq is 1,207 meters long, but actually it's a little bit longer than that. I think the guy that measured the Siq, he took a mirror. 1, 2, 3, measuring, okay? 3. He made 2-3 mistakes here. Well, the gorge is over 1.25 kilometers length. It runs east-west. Now, the gorge was always the main passageway to Petra. This is the shortcut gorge. Now, the gorge was paved with the sandstone back in the 1st century BC during the Nabatean rule. When the Romans took over Petra, they cut off the water channel. The water channel is over there. You can see it. And when the Roman emperor decided to take over Petra, they just cut off the water channel. Yesterday we stopped at the Spring of Moses, and we were blessed by whom? By Moses. Okay, and the water was channeled from the Spring of Moses to the parking lot area. We have a large reservoir over there. The water came down in that water channel, you can see the slide, all the way to the city center of Petra. We have a second water channel and a third water channel. We'll see once we go further on. At the entrance had an arch. You can see the remaining of the support, that arch. It was standing until the year 1896, and then because of the earthquakes it collapsed. There are several niches here. The niches are for keeping statues of their kings or even an image of Dushara, the god of Petra. Now we keep walking. We have 350 horses, and horses walking in the gorge makes a bad turn. So the Petra is a wall side. The law says that Petra shouldn't be destroyed. They stop them to the entrance. The passageway, the gorge, the Siq was always the main passageway even before the Nabatean ruled to Petra, during the Edomite rule. Now, on the way in, you're going to see tens of niches, tens of idols, a good places for pictures, a good place for... Imagine being here, 2,000 years ago. Ceramic pipes, you can see to the right side. Now we get one. Some of the archaeologists also suggest that the water channel, the one with the
Definitely, it's always like that. Any true.
If not, I'll give it to you.
No problem. I will collect myself if not, you know.
Oh, the coolness feels nice.
It's very pretty.
We have some beautiful patterns in the rock where I live.
Yes.
I live on a fault, the San Andreas Fault.
Yes.
And when they cut through the freeways, we have all of this beautiful stuff.
My God.
Which I haven't took pictures of it.
Yes.
They're widening the freeway, and the beautiful design I have a picture of isn't there anymore, so I'm glad I have a picture.
Yes. So pretty.
It's a beautiful day today.
What is that?
As you see that we're still walking down to the City of Petra. This is less than halfway. The remaining of the Roman paved road is over here. Now, on the way in, as we said, that there will be tens of niches. That's, of course, the God blocks is over here. We call them also Beth Eels. Beth Eels, the house of the God. Beth is the house or the home of Beit in Arabic. Here is the Dushara. The Nabateans, they were pagans. They worshipped the local god of Petra. His name is Dushara. When they came here back in the 6th and the 7th century BC, they were worshipping the fertility idols. The book of the Muslims, Quran, talks about that idols. Allat, Al-Uzza, and Manat. Allat, Uzza, Manat. They're the fertility idols of ancient Arabia. But they came here, they started worshipping the male god. His name is Dushara. The name comes from the name of the mountains, Ashara. So when you say Dushara, it means he of the mountains. The god of the mountains, of Petra, the rock, the stone, and the god of the sun at the same time. Here is Dushara. You get 2 columns decorated, and then a pediment over the top. You get 6 little pillars. We have some of the archaeologists says that one of the queens of Petra, her name is Shukaila. She ruled for 6 years. Okay, and during her rule, she paid for the carving, of course, of Dushara, or the image of Dushara. So you get the 6 columns over the top. It's like the 6 years of the Queen Shukaila ruling. This is not, as a, it's a guess. It's not, the fresh waters goes on down to Petra. It's good that they added ceramic pipes. There are no sand traps. It means it's always at fresh waters. Here they put the sand trap because, sand goes with the water.
Yeah.
So they need to make a filtering station.
You guys Because there's a picture, so I'll yeah. Well, I'll get different pictures. I'm walking on the Roman road. It's not like that.
Do you, let's see.
Important station. This is also where Nabateans, they stop in this area. When you look at the paved road, sometimes it's two layers, two different levels, the bottom and the top. The top, that layer over there is Nabatean, this is Roman. Now, where my colleague, is standing, he's explaining about, a niche. There's a niche to the left-hand side. It's a unique of its kind, or very rare, because the Arab gods, okay, the stone, they did not have any eyes or a nose, except in a few places. Two places in Petra where you get Dushara having an eye and a nose. Okay, this is Dushara.
Oh, it has eyes and nose?
Two squares here. Let me finish.
Did the square represent his eyes?
Hold on, just 1 minute, sorry. Okay, so here's the niche of Petra. Now, usually niches are to the right and to the left-hand side. Okay, either facing the north of the Sikh or the south of the Sikh. Here, the niche of Dushara, okay, is looking at the entrance, looking at the Sikh of Petra. Either Dushara to the right or to the left. Looking at the sunrise or the sun's north-south, okay, but here is looking at the entrance of the Sar of Petra. You're walking in, 2,000 years ago, the Nabateans came in and walked out. So here, Dushara is having two eyes, two squares that are very clear, the first one and the second one, and the nose. Now, he is blessing Petra, he is blessing visitors of Petra, and he's protecting the Sar of Petra, and of course, he's blessing the trade, which is very important. Now, it was having also two little ears there. Like little one, like the ones of cats also, to the right and to the left-hand side. This one is a little bit well preserved. Now, the Arab gods before Islam did not have any images. It's always a stone, a black stone. Dushara was also a black stone, but here he's red, he's pink in this area. Okay, but Dushara was, as we said, the god of the mountains and the sun. We say the god of the sun because here also you get a sun disk, an image of Dushara, four of them, and this is Allat, the fertility idols of ancient Arabia. Now, it doesn't say here Allat, it doesn't say here Al-Uzza. The archaeologists, they say that Dushara was the lord of the royals and always the fertility idol of Dushara that was worshipped by the Nabateans, and it's also, as again mentioned in the book of the Muslims, is Allat, Al-Uzza, and Manat, one of the three ones. Okay, but the archaeologist says that this is Allat, the fertility idol, and the goddess of the moon. Okay, so you get the sun disk, and her image is always the moon, the fertility. Now, there is holes here, there are 4 holes, or 5. The Nabateans used to bring large pieces of marble, the marble stone like the ancient Romans, and used to work here for decoration. The white and the gray and the black marble used to come from Turkey. That little room is a triclinium. It's about 2 meters long. A tree is 3. Cliniums is benches or seating. It was used as a funeral home, and the archaeologists suggest that tricliniums could be used for 3 things. Either a place where you have a holy man living. Number 2, it could be as a funeral home, or it could be as a meeting hall. Here in Petra, tricliniums, 3 seatings, it means, okay, they were used, most of them, as funeral houses. When we go to Little Petra today in the afternoon, okay, you'll see that the tricliniums in that areas, they were used as meeting halls by the owners of the caravans to discuss their trade. Now, here there was a man living here, definitely. He makes the sacrifice for Dushara. We have a water storage to the left-hand side. Before walking into the holy place of the triclinium, they used to wash their hands as part of their, their religion, or the culture, it goes up to the top. And this is the water channel. It keeps going down to the Sirisika, center of Petra. There are always niches over there, and here, this is 2 Dusharas. Dusharas are all over the place. When you see holes like this, either the little holes used to put a stone in it for Dushara. 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. If it's 4 on top of each other, it was always used as a ladder. go up to the upper levels. Okay? Yalla, let's go see the other places. Okay. Now this is Sheikh Joseph walking down to the Seek of Petra. Look at his beautiful Nabatean smile, and I like his headdress. Now he's in the Seek of Petra.
We have natural erosion. This one here. This one looks like a head of a fish or an elephant.
An eye.
Yeah. And this is looks like a trunk also. Trunk of an elephant or an anteater. But actually, when you go to this side and if you look at it, it's like a red whale or fish or dolphin. And well, I call it the red snapper. The red snapper. Yep. When we were in the archaeological museum of Rome, we saw atargatas. The goddess of fruits and fertility. Shows the crown, the eyes. Okay? In Petra, the fertility idol is Allah, Al-Uzza, and Manat. Along the King's Highway, it's atargatis. Now, the images of the fertility idols in Petra, it was only for Al-Uzza, the mighty one, like the Greek Aphrodite. Along the King's Highway, it was for
Is that yours?
Gatis and Bushra.
Taping myself.
That's the squared eye.
It goes back to the 6th and to the 7th millennium BC. Okay, one of the images. So when you see a tree over any stone, it's a fertility idol. Here, this is a very important place. The cattle, or the caravan of the camel. It goes to the national here. We have the Ashbar camel. We have the hump. Okay, the camel has 4 legs, yeah? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, one on the back. This is the first, the second. Actually, this is the third, and this is the fourth. Look over there. The first one, then you get the camel going, the second one, and then you get the third one and the fourth one. Now, this is Bushra again here. Bushra over there. That's called Bushra, 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 and this is fertility idols. Heroes. right to the left, you get Allah and Al-Uzza. Can you say Allat? Al-Uzza.
Alosa.
Nushara. Atargatis. Okay, you're saying it right. Now, this is a holy place or a sacred place. When you have Dushara, why did they put them here? Why it's not in that place or here? Now, here we have the water channel, yeah? Now, it suggests that there is to be 2 nabatiyas. Inside the water channel, we have the ceramic pipes. Before adding the ceramic pipes to the water channel, it was like that channel, without ceramic pipes. Now, 2 nabatiyas, they suggest that they were tall people. They were standing here and giving water for the pilgrims, the visitors of Petra. When the visitors drank water, they turned and they looked at Dushara and the other fertility idols, and they thanked him. Thank you, Dushara, Allat, Al-Uzza, and then they kept walking. So this is like a fountain area. So the fountains and the fertility idols is always around the source of water, like a fountain. So you need to be always an Nabatian.
You know, you're feeling it so perfect.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to get a part-time job here. For people from here, from the Spring of Moses, but they say, no, we want the mineral water.
Get back up there and reach in. We want to, we got to take the Kodak moment. Really well in Egypt.
Your accent was so amazing.
It was,
$1, $2 for $1. Two for $1 here. Two for $1. Just look, two for $1.
I thought it was 3 for $1.
Just 3 for $1. Just look, 3 for $1. 3 for $1.
Where are we?
It's more red here.
Is it all right to take a rock?
Right, to put it on your skin. So always the top is mixed with white, with white sand. The bottom is always more pink. So you rub it like this, and then put a rouge. Anybody else?
Oh, so that's how they used to make
Yeah,
it.
this is the bitter one. The bitter one.
Blush, you
The
could
bread.
just
Yeah. You need a brush. Yeah.
maybe we should take some home to use all the time.
Yeah, it's free.
Along with our
It's the same thing.
This is a Jordanian made. It's not Chinese like the half a dinar, half a dinar. This is all of it Jordanian. If you put water on it, it becomes more dark. You can use it as a rouge. 1 drop of water. If you want it the way out, you can pick some of it. And then you can get a big picture.
Supposed to be a detail,
You captured that really well. You put this stone, it's like that's the action shot wrong.
Half dinar. Half dinar, half. Half dinar.
Oh my god.
Half the
Look
dinar.
at this.
It's like, yeah, right.
Half dinar. Half dinar. 2 for half. Half dinar, the necklace. Half dinar. Half dinar. Half dinar, yes. Fresh price. Let's go. Half dinar necklace.
If you remember yesterday in the bus, I don't know if the microphone was clear or not, but this is the treasury of Pharaoh, exactly. The local Bedouins, they believe that Pharaoh was here, and as we were discussing, me and Joseph, that Pharaoh was the black magician. He came here following the white magician, Moses, and he kept all his gold and all his treasures inside the urns. You can see the urns. It's like a safe box where you put your treasures inside it. They say all the precious stones, the treasures of ancient Egypt are kept inside that urn. Now, look at the urn, look at the second floor, between the two columns, you can see the remaining of the bullet hole. The arm there, there is to show it, to break it to get the gold out of it. I don't like to say that very loud in front of them, but it's a fact. The second floor, between the two columns, you can see that there are tens of holes. Okay. Now, the place here, the local name is Khaznet Pharaon, the Pharaoh's treasury, and it's very well preserved. This monument was carved back in the 1st century BC. It took the Nabateans, according to the archaeologists now, they say over 20 years to do this work. If you ask the Jordanian geologists, they say no, 20 years is a lot, a long time. If it's a continuous work, it takes only 2 years. Now, I'm a member of the Friends of Archaeology. We had a few months ago, we got a lecture by a Jordanian geologist. He said that this is a soft sandstone. He's right. He said it's rich of minerals. The red is iron. He said, okay, right, rich of sulfur, silica, copper, but the red is iron. But the stone is not very solid. It's soft. It's soft. And he suggested if you have a carving, a facade, and its height is 10 meters, 30 feet, it takes only 6 months to do it if it's a continuous work. Okay. Now, this is 40 meters long, more than 120 feet is height. So he says it takes only 2 years to do this beautiful carving. If it's a continuous work, gaps, breaks in between, it takes 20 years, no problem. The Nabateans built scaffolding all the way up to the top, and then it was carved from the top to the bottom. Back in the 2nd century BC, there was nothing here. Like that part of the mountain, you can see that part. It was black like that part, all the way. Now, the archaeologists 2 years ago, they uncovered another carving below or under it, where that 3 bedouins are sitting. Yeah, when you go over there to the left-hand side, they're having necklaces. You go over there and you look down, you'll see 2 carvings under this beautiful monument. Now, the archaeologists also 2 months ago, they uncovered that area. You can see that there are 2 that stone, that level. A step down, they went down, and they found a doorway or an opening. It goes to a tomb area. So we have 2 carvings down there and a tomb under this area. Now the tombs down there, the carving, they go back to the 2nd century BC. 2nd century BC. Now the archaeologists, they say when the archaeologists they say that the tombs that goes back to the 2nd century BC are tombs for the holy men of Petra, the high priest of Petra. Now, the archaeologists also, what is this place? Now, we say it's a memorial tomb of one of the Nabatean kings. His name is Aritas. But the latest excavation, it says that this place was carved on top or over the 2 tombs under it as a memorial for the high priest of Petra. It might have been, of course, a memorial tomb for the dead people back in the 2nd century BC, which is under the treasury of Petra. The 2 tombs under it, the archaeologists found inside it urns, and inside the urns there are a lot of frankincense and spices and myrrh. Okay, they were used by the Nabateans to honor, of course, their kings and to honor Petra, trade, and of course for their god of the mountains, Dushara. Now, this place, when you look at it the first time, it looks like an Oriental Hellenistic architecture. It looks like a Greco-Roman building. It's quite well preserved. It's 2 floors. The lower floor is 6 Corinthian columns. We saw the Corinthian columns in Jirash. So when you look at the columns here, it means it's a Roman influence. It's a Roman influence. Over the fixed columns, we have a line, a beautiful carved line, which shows the floral designs, and there are cups in between, the wine cups. And then there is the pediment, a triangle sculpture, and then it goes up to the 2nd floor. The 2nd floor, in some places it's quite well preserved, in other places it's a little bit well preserved. You get 2 columns to the right-hand side and 2 columns to the left-hand side. You can see that in between you have a carved sculpture, that carved stone. It's the Amazon warriors, the Amazons. Between the 2 columns, to the right-hand side, 2nd floor, and to the left-hand side.
What's warrior you mentioned?
The Amazon warriors, the Amazons. The Amazon, you know the legend, the Amazon warriors?
No.
The mythology says that they were living in the south of the Black Sea, and when they lived in their own villages, you know, only warriors, females. When they wanted to have children, they used to go around midnight to ancient Athens, and they used to have, you know, a relation, sex with the male god, you know, the gods. And when they got pregnant, if they delivered a male god, they killed him, and if they delivered, of course, they gave birth to fertility, or an Amazon warrior, a female. She lived with them in their own villages. The story goes on that they used to cut the right breast so they have always an axe in the right hand to protect people. You can see the axe also, the carved axe or a sword, even sometimes over the heads. It's carved like this. There is an axe. Yeah, you can see. Now, in the niche inside, there is a goddess of two wings. Can you see the wings? That's Nike or Victoria, the goddess of Victoria. Between the two columns in the center, in the middle, okay, this is the Egyptian Isis. The Egyptian Isis.
Isis
or Isis. We go up to the top. We have the capital of the column, and then we have the urn. The urn, as we said, is people that died, you know, that belonged into us. The deed in the afterlife. So it's an image of fertility and the fertility island. To the right-hand side of the urn, we have a carved stone. The right hand side, over you can see that has a pyramid. Okay, there is a carved stone. That's eagles. We have eagles. Two to the right hand side and two to the left hand side. Okay, and the eagles are images of the Syrian god Hadad.
What's Hadad?
Hadad. Nowadays, Hadad is a good arak here. It's a good drink. The anis. The monument in general, it was carved back in the 2nd century BC, the lower layer. This was carved on top of it back in the 1st century BC. It took the Nabateans between 2 and 20 years, I don't know. I wish I was here back then, but the archaeologist says 20 years, the geologist says 2 years. If it's a continuous work, it was a memorial tomb of the high priest of Petra. Before 2 years, we used to say it was a memorial tomb of one of the Nabatean kings. His name is Arytas. And if you read that side, it says a memorial tomb of Arytas, the king of Petra. But the latest information suggests that this is a memorial tomb of the chief priest of Petra. And then it was reused as a temple by the Nabateans to honor the chief priest, maybe the royals also, and the gods of seven steps almost. And then the platform, there is an altar around. They used to sacrifice a sheep, or they used to offer wine, and then the wine, or the blood is channeled out to the right hand, and then it goes down. Walking inside is not allowed. It's a large cave. Inside the cave, we have 3 little or small rooms. The rooms they were suggested by the archaeologists that they were a funeral home, a funeral chapel, but they are not. We do not have any graves inside the treasury. There is nothing. Only a large cave, and then there's a room here, 2 and 3. There are no tombs inside it, so it's a memorial tomb. Definitely it was reused as a temple. No one was allowed to walk inside the temple except the chief priest. He used to tie a rope around his waist, he goes inside, and then he burns the incense, and then he starts singing for Dushara, singing for the blessings of Dushara. And then the Nabatean worshippers, they were all around this area, repeating after him. The rope is for what? Just in case. If he dies inside the Holy of the Holies, they can always pull him out, and someone else could replace him. The treasury was pilastered, it was painted, but nothing remained out of the pilaster. The holes to the right hand side and to the left hand side, that's a footwall, like a ladder. When they want to restore of course, the pilaster, but it's not, doesn't exist anymore, it's all destroyed. So the treasury is out there. We have 3.
ماذا دينار سير؟
This is pretty.
You want to go sit for a little bit? Yes. We have a 2-minute break.
That's good. That's good. Stop it.
Stop.
Yes. 1 minute. ايه stop it.
ايه والله هم بدفعوا منهم
خبرتهم القلب.
ولا رضوا يدفعوا خيل ولا رضوا يدفعوا دليل محلي والله العظيم وفضحوني فوق والله يا وحش لا نكتب فيك وما نكتب فيك المكتب بيقول لي يا وحش انا قلت لهم قلت يعني انا ورطني في المشكله يعني السيلفر $1 وات باي ذا عملها معاي شوفوا
Mike.
4 tombs, 1, 2, and 3. Now, right now you're sitting in the water channel. This is the water channel. There is a second one, the ceramic pipes, they're up there. So the third water channel is in front of the tomb. The 3 water channel.
Camel.
Is that real?
mad. It does sound like it.
Where is it coming from?
In one of the caves.
It makes
There'll be a
such
donkey
a...
station after 2 minutes. There'll be a donkey station and a camel station after 2 minutes. Now, you know, walking in is in this wadi, going out is the same way. You go all the same way, to the temple, to the gorge, to the horses, to the gate. Now, the tower tombs here, they go back to the 1st century BC. This is one of the earliest tombs that we have in Petra. It's from the same age, same age of the tragedy of Petra. But the first carvings of Petra, we're going to see them after some time when we turn to the left-hand side. Here, these carvings, the first one has a doorway, an opening, a cave, and they found inside it 3 tombs. Now, the tomb in the first one, it was uncovered by the archaeologists, and when you read what they found inside it, they found a lot of pottery that goes back to the Nabatean era, and then to the Byzantine era in the 6th century AD. So it means that it was recycled, reused by the Christians of Petra in the 6th century AD. Now, we call this tomb the Tomb of the Thief, the local name, the Tomb of the Thief, because the local people, they say there was a thief, okay, he stole things from Bedouins, and then he came and went to that cave. And then the Bedouins came following him, chasing him, and then they went down to the end of Wadi Musa. He jumped and then he ran away. So they call it the Tomb of the Thief. The middle one here doesn't have a doorway, it doesn't have an opening. It might be a memorial tomb or unfinished tomb. But most of the archaeologists say that it's unfinished tomb. The stone cutters, they stopped for some reasons. We don't know the reason. The first one to the right-hand side, okay, it's a beautiful cave. You remember when I was telling you yesterday or the day before that a Bedouin woman, she was having 2 daughters. They lived in a cave, and it was like a beautiful one with rugs and cushions and mattresses. She had a fridge, a TV. It was a coffee shop, a restaurant, gift shop, and over the doorway, of course, there was a sign: "We take the credit card." She was living in that cave until like 6 years ago. Her daughter speaks 5-6 languages because of the tourists. The tombs here are, they have the first one to the right side. You can see that's having the Nabatean classical columns. The capitals are pointed, they have horns. in the shade. These are, we call them the Nabatean classical column. If you look over it at the top, there are always steps. Steps for that goes to the right hand side and one goes to the left hand side. Or sometimes the carved steps are like a step pyramid, like a small one. The same one is to the left hand side. Now these are, before we said that these are an Assyrian influence. Assyrian is a kingdom that existed in ancient Mesopotamia, sometime around the 6th century BC. The Assyrians built on top of their houses little step pyramids to protect their houses, to hide behind it. And when someone came and attacked their villages, they used to throw stones at him and spears, arrows for protection. But here in Petra, the steps has another meaning. It could be an Assyrian influence. Some of the archaeologists suggested it could be also an Egyptian influence. It could be a mixture of Egyptian and Assyrian. Pyramids are, graves for kings, for the pharaohs. Yeah. Now here in Petra, the steps, it might have another meaning. The nefesh, the spirit, the soul, when someone dies, it goes up the steps to paradise. They believed in the afterlife. For this, they kept the other steps for going down. Where to? To the same grave. Some of the archaeologists suggested that the caves, they were painted, they were plastered and they were painted, and they had the picture of the fresco of the dead Nabateans. So when the nefesh, the spirit, it goes down the steps, it goes through the painting, it goes through the same Nabatean to identify the same body. So it's an image, a sign of death, like the obelisk, exactly. So you get the first one, second one, third one, and the first one to the right hand side, the little one, it was a very beautiful tomb. It doesn't have a dome, of course. It's a memorial place, and you can see that it had two little columns and a pyramid over the top, and then you can see the steps over it. The steps, we call them the crow steps, the blackbird, the crow. When it goes, walking, one step, second, third, fourth, and then its legs reach each other. It cannot move. It has to jump or to fly. So called the step pyramid. We call it the crow step. Okay, yalla.
The speaker.
This is summertime. It's we call it music time. Donkeys are singing.
So the stories of the donkey you were saying was right here. They bought the donkey because of the tourists.
Yes. Here are the names.
If interest to your names, just leave it. And this one costs 5 dinars. Because depends if they want.
Now this is a kid here. He always escort tourists. His name is Tamam. She always takes tourists up the steps. See the donkeys over there? There are 750 steps. It goes to the top of that mountain. It goes to the high place of the sacrifice. So she goes always escorting them. She holds their hands and she goes up to the high place with them. And she starts singing for them always. They have some stores here for herself. She says, she's a very good girl. This is Tamam here. Tamam, كيفك؟ تمام؟ اسمك تمام؟ تمام، مو تمام. تمام كيفك؟ منيحة؟ شو أخبارك؟ Okay? You okay today? I like this kid. Okay, now this is the early necropolis of Petra here, and we have 44 tombs. That goes back to the 2nd century BC, and there are 4 layers. We have a joint project between the Germans and the Jordanians. They're trying to preserve the monuments of Petra. That scaffolding. It's a joint project between the Germans and the Jordanians, and we put like a layer of gum, natural gum. We added some chemicals to it to preserve it, so it can protect it from the weathering and the wind. Most of the monuments here in Petra are eroded due to the weathering. Over there, back in the 19th century, you see that beautiful facade. An American traveler came here, and he found a stone, and there was a Nabatean script on it. It says that this is the tomb of Onesho, the minister of the Queen Shukayla. So that was for a minister of Petra, and that was for Tabia Adil Kashur. The local people were graze on the common ones, those ones. You can see the cave and over it. This is the music.
They're all gonna sing now.
Yeah. Okay, now we'll go from outside, take a good picture of the theater, and then we'll go to the toilet stop. Okay? Yalla.